Right, so this video is going to guide you through setting up the data entry form for this ICT system. At the moment, we've got our 4 tables which store the raw data. We've got a query that processes this data and gets the data needed to produce an invoice, and we've actually made the meaningful output in terms of the report that actually presents that information in a meaningful and valuable way. So we've got the process and the output sorted. We really need to kind of tidy up the input side of things, because it'd be unrealistic to expect our users to have to navigate the interface using the table structure that there is now. For example, having to enter orders using ID codes and item codes is a bit impractical. Our end user having to know all of those off the top of their heads, or even having to reference them from a sheet, would be time consuming and totally impractical. So we're going to look at a way of developing a form for this database, a front end that takes away all that pain. So we're going to start with the order form first off, and we're going to generate a form for that. So if we go across here and select the form option, okay, and you can see straight away that Access has recognised that the order is also linked to the order item table, so it's also included a subform including the information of the items on this particular order. Okay, but again, in this format it's still tricky to follow and still not ideal. So let's start the process of improving this input form and make it into something a lot more user friendly. And the first thing we're going to start off with is this user ID field. Okay, so at the moment, if I put this into design view, if I want to make a new order, okay, I have to type in the user ID. Okay, and now I might not know what that what that customer ID is, and so that might involve me having to go across the customer table to find that particular customer ID before I could input it. Well, let's see if there's a way that we can change that to make that a little bit more user friendly. So we're going to go back into design view on the form, and we're going to chop out that customer field there, and we're going to replace it with a combo box. So I'm just going to draw that on in its place. Okay, ignore that if you get that message. Now, we've used combo boxes before on forms, and in the past we've used this option here. I will type in the values that I want, and we've listed the options that we want in that drop down box. Now, the problem with doing it this way is our customers will come and go. So if we entered all our customers into that list, well, what happens when we add a new one, or what happens when one leaves? That list isn't going to update, it's going to stay the same. So what we want is a lookup validation and not a list validation. And so to set a lookup validation, we're going to use this option here, and we're going to get the values to come from a table. And the table, as you might have guessed, is going to be the customer table, because that's the table that's going to get updated with new customers that join and old customers that get removed. Okay, so as long as we're looking at that table, our lookup list is always going to be up to date. So I'm going to press next on that. In terms of fields, well, to find a customer, I'm going to include customer ID, but I think to make it easy for my end user, we're going to include forename and surname on there and press next again. Okay, this could save a little bit of time as well in terms of just ordering the drop down list. So let's order it by surname first off, alphabetically, and then by forename secondly, and press next again. This is the preview of what the drop down box will look like, which looks absolutely fine to me. I've only got two customers in my customer table at the minute. It's hiding the key column for me. Well, I don't really need to see it, so I'm going to leave that checked. I'm going to press next. The important thing is that this final step is that when we want to actually select the option from the customer drop down, that we actually store that customer ID in the order table, and so we just need to confirm to Access that that's what needs to happen. So if we press next there and then click finish, we now have a combo box on this form. I need to label that and tidy it up a little bit, but I'll leave that for you guys to do. But let's just see if it's working or not. So if I go into view now, okay, and if I go across to make a new order, so new order, I'll put a date in. I'm not going to add any items to this order, but if I select this drop down box now, you can see I can pick from Lisa and Bob. Well, let's choose Bob. Okay, let's cross that off and save that order. Press OK, and let's just press F5 on the keyboard to refresh, and we can see order number 4 made by customer number 1. It stored the value number 1. Well, that's Bob. Okay, we know we've now recorded that order was made by that customer. Job done.